Right, so it's about a week later from when I put the beer into the stainless steel brew bucket, and before I actually rotate the racking arm to rack it off, I'm just going to draw off a hydrometer reading just to check that it's fermented out. Slightly concerned with this one because it has sort of been fermenting midweek in this sort of like massive heat wave we've had, and I've had it in the flats. It hasn't been in the temperature fridge, so there's a chance that it's spoiled or it's gone a bit funny. But I think that's the good thing about having the little tap to draw off a sample is I don't tend to check my beer throughout the thing. I kind of let it ferment. At the end of it, I check the hydrometer reading. But I guess really you could draw a sample off sort of midway, and especially at the end, it's good that you can draw a sample off without actually opening the whole container and running the risk of infection. So you can get that sample. You're not going to have to kind of sterilise the hydrometer and chuck it in and whatnot. You can just draw a sample off, and then if you're happy to throw it away, obviously you would need to sanitise it if you're going to pour it back in. But you don't really need to open the lid to do this. So I'm just going to pour that off. We're on about 10:10, which is good. The beer is very, very murky for some reason. This was a no chill cube type beer that I did. I've never done it before. That probably would have dropped out a bit better had I had it in the fridge. Presume it will drop out later. We will see. Next, I'm going to sanitise the hose, attach it to the end of the tap, twist it so that the arm is pointing downwards, and then get it into the bottling bucket. And I'll cut back once I've sanitised everything to do that. Didn't want to sanitise everything to find out that it's not reached its final gravity. I better give it a taste really, just to check it's not gone. It's alright. Maybe not as hoppy as I'd hoped, but it's a beer nonetheless. Right, I'll cut back in a second. Right, so it's time to rack the beer off. I did the hydrometer reading the other day, and I have to admit, with this particular beer, a no chill beer that I did in this, I'm not quite sure what's happened. It's when I took the hydrometer reading, it was fine. It's down to 10:10. It's fermented out. When I did actually check inside, it kind of had a very sulphury smell. Don't know why, because it shouldn't be because of the yeast that I used. It does seem to have fermented out, but I'm going to rack it into a secondary, and I was going to dry pop anyway, so I'm going to do that now and just show how simple it is to basically rack from the stainless steel brew bucket. The tap does require a turn, which will send the racking arm to sort of the down position, so it draws out the beer, which should just be like a half turn. Then that will mean that the racking arm's pointing down. So that's just been done. The tubing is tubing I've got from the 4.5 litre auto siphon, which most people would already have anyway, because you kind of need an auto siphon through, getting out your beer normally. I will try and find out the actual diameter of the hose and put that down the link, because if you obviously haven't got that already, that's the only other thing you need. Once you've got this brew bucket, you won't need an auto siphon. You just need a little bit of hose to connect it to your secondary or to your bottling bucket. I guess you could bottle straight from the brew bucket itself, but then you'd obviously have to prime your bottles separately rather than in your bucket. So hopefully when I turn the tap on, it should start running out. I've obviously sanitised all this and the hose, and that is flowing. It does actually look really clear, but for some reason it's got a very odd smell about it at the moment. Something I've not experienced before. I think partly due to the fact that when this went into the fermenter, the weather was really quite cool here in England, and then all of a sudden it just went crazy hot, and it's not had the chance to ferment in proper conditions, whereas normally I'd do it in the brew fridge and it would be at the correct temperature. Saturday I do intend to do a beer kit in this and show it in situ in the beer fridge, just to show kind of the compact size and how well it will work for you. That's racking off. There's really not much more to show, but I will cut back to some footage that I'm going to film on Saturday, just to show you, I'm going to add a beer kit to this, I'm going to tweak it and whatnot, but then show you in my fermenting fridge, just to show you kind of, a little bit of scale, the size and that, and how it probably will fit. I reckon probably most sort of fermenting fridges that people have got out there, because it is a beautiful size. I think it's compact and it's great at what it does. So hopefully I'll see you Saturday. Cheers. Right, so I thought there's one other thing I should show you. I've racked off, and that's what I've got left. I will admit that the racking tube does leave a little bit in there, but what I did find is that you can kind of gradually tip it so that you get a little bit more of your beer out the fermenter. Obviously you want to make sure that it's on a nice edge for you to be able to do that. I would say in the bottom of there at the moment it's probably, I don't know, 500 mil at the most, I would say, so it's not too bad. I do believe they have made a slightly longer racking arm in there, but I guess they keep it at a certain length to make sure you don't start extracting trub and whatnot from the bottom. So it's been designed like that, for a reason, I guess. So I'm happy with what I've got out of it, so it seems fine. Right, so just a quick kind of roundup and summary for the sort of part 2 of the brew bucket. It's not going to be as long and extensive as the first part. I think I've pretty much covered most of the things. Today I've done a beer kit into the stainless steel brew bucket. I mixed all the ingredients up in a separate bucket prior to putting them into the brew bucket, purely because of the conical bottom. I didn't want all the gloopiness to get stuck to the bottom of it. I've added it all to the fermenter, and I've now put it into the fermentation fridge. I'm just going to show you that now, just to show you sort of like the size and how it would fit if you had a similar thing at home. So just point it down a bit. So as you can see, it fits quite nicely in there. This is just a kind of standard sort of like cube fridge that you get in your kitchen kind of thing. There is about, I would probably say about 2.5 inch clearance from the top of the brew bucket to the thing. I'm using a blow off tube, so it's just going into the little rubber bung, coming down into a bottle of Star San, and I've taped the probe to the side of the fermenter. The beauty of this, which I found out today, was being able to draw a sample off without sort of having to kind of remove the liquid from there. It was just a case of opening the tap, pouring one off, and then being able to do the hydrometer reading, which I think is great. I'm going to shut that up now just so that it's sealed until the ferment's over, just so the temperature can get up on the fridge or cool down in this immense heat. Yeah, being able to sort of draw a sample off to be able to do a hydrometer reading at the start of fermentation and during kind of thing is something I don't normally do. I kind of just leave my beer to settle out, but I think it's a good way, sort of at the end of when you know your fermentation's finished, or you predict it has, to be able to take a reading, draw it off, and see without having to actually open the whole fermenter up and risk infection. I believe there are a couple of revisements to the brew buckets. There's new ones coming out. There's the Chronicle that's got the little tap at the bottom, so you can be able to sort of draw yeast samples and whatnot off and draw all the yeast off of it. And I've seen some. I know for a fact that the fermentation controlled one is on its way, and Malt Miller is going to supply them at some point. I'm really excited to see what that's about, because for me, brewing here where I have got temperature control is great. When I haven't, and I've got it at home and it's in my flat, if I can have an all-in-one system that controls the temperature, that would be fantastic. Depending on sort of how it operates and runs, I'm really excited about that. I have seen another one on their website which has an actual inbuilt thermometer, which I think is another great thing, sort of to be able to see the temperature of the wort inside the fermenter without having to worry about sticking anything in and whatnot, is another added thing. So there's lots of things they're thinking about of how to improve these brew buckets and make them even better than they already are. So I'm kind of excited what they're going to bring out next. I don't think there's anything else I can really touch on. If anyone's got any questions about it, they can drop me a line. I'll be happy to answer them. I'm just looking forward to sampling some good beer from them. So thanks for watching and cheers.